This is Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Kaloni. In this hour, the Renal Patients Association of Ghana reveals 14 of its members with kidney conditions died between May and September after the Kolebo Teaching Hospital ran out of supplies and restricted dialysis services to only emergency cases. We'll hear from some of the members who say as of last week, Thursday, the hospital was still charging the now reversed 765 dialysis fees. And police service on collision course with NDC minority, as it says it will not allow any protester near the Bank of Ghana headquarters as the minority proceeds with the Occupy of Ghana protest. We have details as the police defense stands that the Bank of Ghana headquarters is a security zone. Also, limited registration of voter registration exercise ends to EC says it will not extend the time. We are grateful for your time here on Joy News Prime. Now we begin with the Occupy BOG protest, where the police and NDC are on a collision course as the police insist it will not allow them to get anywhere near the Bank of Ghana headquarters. Now the protest, which has been postponed on several occasions due to differences between the organizers and the police due to the choice of route, is to protest the historic loss recorded by the Central Bank Director of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service. ACP Grace Ansah Akrofi explained that there is an agreement in place between the service and the minority leadership and expect that no protester will go near the Bank of Ghana headquarters. Kweku Asante reports.
This protest has taken more than a month in coming because the minority have had significant disagreement with the Ghana Police Service in terms of the route that they have to use. Initially, the minority in Parliament planned to occupy and picket the Bank of Ghana headquarters, but the police disagreed, leading to several back and forth in court, outside of court, several agreements having been reached before this day is finally coming. According to the Ghana Police Service, no protester will be allowed near the Bank of Ghana headquarters.
The name of a protest does not necessarily determine the route of the protest. And as I mentioned earlier, the service has engaged extensively with the demonstrators, and this is the agreed route. This is the route that both parties have agreed on, and these are the routes that are going to be used for the demonstration. So from the locations I mentioned, that is going to be the exact places that the demonstration where it will begin, where they will pass through, and where they will terminate. That is what has been agreed upon, and that is what will follow tomorrow.
Well, the Director of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service has been explaining that their security assessment shows that the Bank of Ghana headquarters is a security zone.
When the police has been served with a notice for a protest, the service is to conduct a security assessment of the routes and the locations proposed. And when the police has concerns that following these routes can endanger public safety, public order, and the provision of essential services, the police is able to ask or request of the organizers to make changes to their proposed routes. And the act, I must say, envisage a situation where the police and organizers might not come to a good compromise. And for that matter, the provision of the law court was made. So per the security assessment conducted by the police service, the Bank of Ghana is a security zone, and we've advised the organizers accordingly.
She has therefore been announcing that the protest will start at a brass spot here in Accra and then terminate at the Independence Square. There will be a number of roadblocks, and the police say they've made alternative arrangement to ensure that traffic flow in the city is not disrupted.
Also, we've deployed adequate logistics in place, ready to ensure that every Ghanaian citizen who shows up on the streets to exercise their constitutional right to demonstrate is protected, is guaranteed safety and security. I will quickly run you through the traffic arrangements made for tomorrow's demonstration. Per our agreements with the minority group, the demonstrators will converge at the Obra spot at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle and proceed to Adabraka to reach roundabout National Theatre traffic light, High Court complex traffic light, 2 at Mills Highway, and make a U-turn at the National Lotteries and terminate at the Independence Square.
According to the police, they have undertaken a thorough review of the events surrounding the Occupy Jilobi House protest and will ensure that the same events do not recur.
As an institution that is determined to become a world-class institution and a reference point for the rest of Africa and beyond, we definitely believe in reviewing our work, and debriefing is a very important component of police operations. So after every operation, small or big, the institution meets with all its stakeholders to review to see which areas did we excel at so that we can sustain those, and where were the shortfalls so that we can improve on those going forward. And so we did meet, we had a review, and one key thing we took up is constant and continuous engagements with the general public, with organizers, with various stakeholders as far as demonstrations are concerned. Mind you, the minorities are protesting the historic loss made by the Bank of Ghana, more than 40 billion Ghana cedis in losses recorded by the Bank of Ghana. They've also taken issues with the Bank of Ghana's spending of more than $200 million to construct a new head office. They say this is profligate at the time the economy is struggling. Reporting from the police headquarters here in Accra, my name is Kasoa-Accra for Joy News.
Now, the minority in Parliament, in a statement released a while ago, has vowed to resist any attempt to change the route initially agreed. There you have the statement on your screen, and it reads, as the sun rises on the protest grounds, let our voices pierce the heavens, demanding accountability and justice. Let the echoes of our collective roar reach every corner of this nation, awakening a spirit of resilience in every young heart. We are not just protesting against the ills of today, we are rallying for a tomorrow free from the chains of economic oppression. It goes on to say, in the face of this historic opportunity, we cannot falter. Let the flame of our collective discontent illuminate the path to a brighter future. Tomorrow is not just a protest, it is a revolution, a bold statement that will not be silenced, that the youth of Ghana will reclaim their rightful place in the shaping of our nation's destiny. In unity, in defiance, and in hope, we march. Tomorrow, let the street echo with the footsteps of the young and the brave. For this is not just a protest, it is a seismic shift, a call to arms that reverberates through the corridors of power. And finally, come prepared tomorrow that in case the police attempt to assault the protesting public, demanding justice from those who have sunk our country so low, we will defend ourselves and this republic at the peril of our lives. And it says that join us, for our unity lies the power to forge a new dawn for Ghana and the street of Accra tomorrow. So that's the statement from the minority. Now, we'll move on from that story to take you to health story, where the Renal Patient Association of Ghana, made up of persons with kidney conditions, have revealed 14 of its members died between May and September after the Kolebu Teaching Hospital ran out of consumables, which led to restrictions of dialysis services to only emergency cases. Now, speaking at a press conference here in Accra, patient and member Michael Asante said the situation has left many of them in constant fear of death. We'll hear from them shortly. But first, in the first episode of our series dubbed Dialysis Crisis, my colleague Maxwell Agbagba brings us the story of 54-year-old Georgina Mensah. She used to sell fish at the Tema Fishing Harbour. Ideally, she's supposed to get 3 sessions of dialysis, but she's unable to afford the cost, so she is compelled to do only 1. Her story mirrors that of thousands of persons with kidney conditions in the country. Maxwell Agbagba has more in the following report.
54-year-old Georgina Pia lies in the reclined seat at a private facility, the Central Dialysis Center. She just finished her session for the week. Once a vibrant fish seller at the Tema Fishing Harbour, now confined by her kidney condition, unable to afford the lifeline she needs, regular dialysis.
I started getting the symptoms of a kidney condition when my daughter was in the first year of university. Even getting food to eat is difficult. I have to beg before I eat. My mother, who used to support me too, is also blind now. I don't have any helper. I used to sell fish at the fishing harbor and used to get support from my friends, but not anymore. You know the harsh economic conditions now, so I have to beg before I get money for my weekly dialysis at this private facility.
Fifty-four-year-old Georgina Owusu was compelled by the closure of the dialysis center at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital to seek treatment from this private facility. She was hopeful that the dialysis center at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital would be reopened so she could go back there. But the news that she received shattered her hopes of ever going back. She says the increase of dialysis treatment from 380 cedis to 765 cedis is just like the authorities pushing her from behind into a 6-foot grave.
And bring my mom to this private facility, 460 cedis.
Her daughter, 26-year-old Stella Owusu, is the only child of her mother. She says the weekly dialysis sessions have taken a toll on their finances. She says, but for friends and family members, her mother would have been dead.
When they closed in May, we were there, I think about a month later, or it didn't even get to a month. Then you are there, and then one person's picture will be sent. So and so has died. Couldn't get money to dialyze continuously because I think Korle Bu was the cheapest place, 380 cedis at that time. Other facilities were taking 500, 550 at that time. And so moving from Korle Bu, no source of income, and then you are supposed to wait 550 twice a week or 3 times a week. Most patients couldn't get it. So we've actually lost a lot of patients, both young and old. But the one I can count right now is about 12 patients since Korle Bu dialysis unit shut down. Because even bring my mom to this private facility, 460 cedis twice a week, I don't even get it. So it's once a week I get for my mom. I'll call church members, I'll call friends, and then they'll contribute and I'll bring her.
Lack of proper and affordable healthcare systems is one of the reasons young people hit the streets last 2 weeks to protest. One of them, Nasiba Bawa, was seen charging at the police. In a video that has now gone viral, she told me she was protesting because a 24-year-old man had died because he couldn't afford the cost of dialysis.
A 24-year-old boy died this morning. His father is a teacher. His father is a teacher. Gave over 30 years of his life to the service. Could not afford transplant. Could not afford dialysis. 400 cedis a week. What do you mean? Do you know how much taxes they check out every day? God will judge the government.
2 weeks after the protest, I'm at Star Bites at West Legon to meet Nasiba. She usually buys her lunch here. She says government must do more to cater for people who cannot afford the cost of dialysis. She says no one should die because they can't afford to live.
I was so upset, like it got to me, and not even just because Hassan died, but what Hassan represented, even for me, you know, that he represented a lost, like a country that had failed you. He represented people who were dying or had died. He represents a lot of things for me. And so looking at him and looking at the situation that finally what had gotten me into, it was as though like you were living in a memory yet to happen. I was angry, that's the word. I wasn't upset. I was angry, and anger is a very rare emotion for me. It's a very important emotion for me. Like, for you to be angry, it means that the thing you're angry about is very important, because I would say I'm annoyed, I'm upset, to be angry, it's very important for me.
These stories underscore the urgent need for the government to address the healthcare disparities in the country, ensuring that essential treatments like dialysis are affordable and accessible to all regardless of their financial status. The lives of people like Georgina Mensah and countless others depend on it. Maxwell Agbagba, Joy News.
Now, Maxwell Agbagba was at a press briefing by the group and has come through with this particular report.
The members of the Renal Association of Ghana have been mourning 14 of their members who they say died between the period of May and September. They say that many of them used to get free treatment from the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. These dialysis treatments was sponsored by some benevolent persons. They say that the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital restricted the dialysis services to only emergency cases. They say they had to resort to the use of private facilities to get that treatment. They tell us that because they're unable to get that treatment, some of them are unable to go for their dialysis treatment.
As we speak, the renal unit has been closed since 22nd May 2023. Up to date to outpatients. Patients have gone through turbulent times as we struggle to finance our dialysis treatments at private dialysis centers across the city. Unfortunately, during this shutdown period, we have lost about 14 of our friends. Patients with ESRD and this has left the rest of us living in constant fear for our tomorrow. This is because we do not know who amongst our number will be the next to lose their lives needlessly. For the souls of our departed friends, may they rest in peace. Please let's observe a minute's silence for them.
President.
Former President John Mahama has also been wading into the conversation, calling for the scrapping of import duties and taxes on consumables and kits used for dialysis treatment. He says it is incentive for the government to continue to tax the elderly and the vulnerable population.
As an immediate measure, I call on the government to exempt medication and kits for dialysis treatment from taxes and duties to maintain this critical lifeline for patients whose survival depends on this treatment. I've had first-hand experience with the story of one of my assemblymen from the Bole Bamboy district constituency where I was a member of parliament for 12 years. This assemblyman had to travel weekly to Kumasi for dialysis treatment because there was no such facility anywhere near our constituency. And there are many places in this country where dialysis is not available. And so if you have kidney disease, you either have to travel to Tamale, to Kumasi, to Accra, Cape Coast, or any of those places for dialysis. And you can imagine the transportation alone, including the cost of the dialysis treatment. Most people cannot afford it. So this assemblyman had to travel weekly to Kumasi from Bole Bamboy, my constituency, for dialysis treatment because there was no such facility anywhere near our constituency.
Anyway, Isaac Kofi J is my colleague here, and he joins me with a regional breakdown of the kidney diseases in the country. What's the data looking like?
It's not looking good, and I just heard former Vice President, Mahama speak that someone had to travel all the way from Bole Bamboy to Kumasi
every week.
Absolutely, and you have to do this at least 3 times a week, and we understand some of them even do just one, and that is it because of the cost and availability. So we've been doing some checks as far as these 2 factors or determinants are concerned, the availability and the cost. A country with a population of almost 32 million people, dialysis patients or people with kidney diseases reaching about 2,000, and we have about just 40 dialysis centers and about 299 dialysis machines scattered across the country. So this paints a very, gloomy picture. Regions with no dialysis, we are talking about 8 regions out of 16. That's half of all the 16 regions in Ghana with no dialysis. Now, I mentioned 299. Someone will say it's quite okay, but if you do the regional breakdown, then you see how skewed this data is. 226 of these 299 dialysis machines are actually located in the Greater Accra region. The region that comes close is the Ashanti region with 39. Next is Central region 10, and Eastern region with 8. So if you do the distribution, you see how skewed the whole thing is. Now, I brought up this map for you to understand the situation that we find ourselves in. The areas or regions in red are the places with no dialysis machines. So Northern region, Upper East, Upper West, Savannah region, Oti region, Ahafo, Western North, all of these regions do not have dialysis machines. And even with the regions in the northern part that have dialysis machines, talking about just 5. Bono region, 3. Even Kumasi or Ashanti region, 39. Eastern region is around 8, and Western region 2. Just recently that we saw the addition. And so if these regions have problems with their machines, just look at the population up here having to travel all the way to the Greater Accra region, where most of these dialysis machines that we are even talking about are located in private facilities. We've also been doing, apart from the availability, some cost analysis on the affordability. So we know that just about 20% of our workforce or our public sector workers earn close to 3,000 cedis on the average every month. There are people who earn way below this average. So we are assuming that, let's assume someone who is earning 3,000 cedis. Already inflation is taking about 40% away from
transport and other things.
Absolutely. And it's having to take care of this dialysis cost. So if you are using the 380 cedis per session, then it means that person has to pay 1,140 cedis every week. Month over 4,000 cedis. And every year, the person has to pay close to 55,000 Ghana cedis. That's huge. Even if you do with this projected cost that Kolebu was charging, and then we are saying that they've actually backtracked, this will give you a figure that probably I don't want to mention. You can see it on your screen. If you compare it to even what we have with the 380 cedis, the difference is wide. That person's annual salary, we are assuming that that person saves all this annual salary of 36,000.
That's not taking food and other things out of it.
Can't even afford dialysis for a year.
54, 36.
Absolutely. That person will have to go and find money elsewhere to make sure that they are on the machine. And what the accounts we are getting from the patients tells you that, especially those in the northern part of the country, when the machines are not working, they have to travel to Kolebu. And even when you get to Kolebu, those in Accra, they have to queue. And each person must go on the machine for 4 hours. So just imagine.
So how many people can you take in 24 hours, for instance?
That's the question we have to ask. And if you look at the 2023 budget, subsidy is 0 for the whole year. Situation.
It's so bad. Thank you so much, Kofi, for the update on that. We'll take a break. We'll return with more. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Now, let's shift our attention to the roads. A ticking time bomb. That's how roads and building consultant Engineer Abdullahi Mahama describes portions of the Accra-Kasoa highway as he recommends a complete re-engineering of the road network to avert a possible mudslide disaster. Gaping potholes, stagnant rainwater and mud from surrounding hills have taken over portions of the busy road network, which connects the western and central regions to the capital, Accra, compelling commuters to spend hours in traffic on a trip that would have ordinarily lasted a few minutes. Join News' Faustina Mafo has more in today's edition of our Potholes Exhibition.
A few meters from the Kasoa toll booth, is a stagnant pool of water, more like a naturally created government's flagship project. One district, one dam. The problem, however, is that the irrigation potential of this particular dam, created by cascading rainwater and mudslides, is not being tapped, as it sits right in the middle of the road. Drivers navigating this stretch must drive with caution, mindful of the peril that awaits them if they speed up. With each rainfall, the asphalt on this stretch is covered with thick sludge from surrounding hills. Frustrated residents say for years, successive governments have looked on without providing a permanent solution to the problem.
From Tobu to Nankasangasa de Bahan, you try 6 hours. And here the Moncanchira Womo. Ghana Penifono Mudri Homon Faho, no my father Leno, no my so hazard. Eddie Siso wa no mon fabi. Na kwa mo fa no mo twamenem enu mu the way quantity.
Yesterday, we spent 6 hours in traffic from the toll booth to this point. Our leaders don't use this stretch each time it rains. They rather put on their sirens and use the other lane. If they were compelled to use this stretch to have a feel of how we spend so much money fixing our tires, probably they would ensure that this issue is addressed.
And so before hapa abe na Ghana ekosa hwe me breakman abe yi wasisi a me be ya me do ya me si abe na chire breakman ba kon eyi.
Top government officials own houses around this place, but they keep mute and watch us suffer. Just now my brake band came off. I have to buy a new one.
Ghana yem 24/7 eden ye hu de omoye mayen hwe afie bia aha etumeji afie bia yi enso omonya hwenfa ho. I
honestly don't see what the government is doing to help us as citizens. Every year during the rainy season, this is what we endure. Government needs to construct a huge drain to channel excess water and then get a professional to see how we can prevent the mud from clogging our drains.
The drains designed to channel excess water are now clogged with mud and overgrown weeds. Right before my eyes, a vehicle got stuck, trapped in the mud, a testament to the unforgiving nature of the road.
This stretch is a very busy stretch, and ordinarily it's the only stretch that takes you from the central region to the Greater Accra region with ease. It's a major highway, and just few meters away from this point was the once vibrant toll booth that served as a source of income and revenue to government. So even as I struggle to pull out my feet from the mud, the big question is, where did all that money go to? Well, obviously I can help this gentleman, but then hopefully government can do something to help him by getting this road fixed.
John is a contractor under the Ministry of Roads and Highways. His job is to desilt the drains and gather the mud from the road each time it rains. But he laments he has not been paid for the past 4 years.
Still on deplorable road, residents of Anya Palace Town are lamenting over deplorable state of roads in their vicinity. Palace Town is a suburb of Anya West electoral area in Anya Sotom constituency in the Gan Central district of the Greater Accra region. Now, the deteriorating condition of these roads is posing significant challenges to commercial drivers, traders and residents in the community. The roads are riddled with potholes, cracks and uneven surfaces, making it difficult for motorists to navigate safely. Abigail Dodo's report.
Driving in Anya Palace Town here in Accra is a bumpy adventure. The roads are riddled with potholes and this forces vehicles to go in detours. When it rains, residents have a hard time hailing rides home because drivers refuse to ply that route. The lack of drains in the community has compounded the problem. Heavy rains flood the road and deepen the depressions in the middle of the road.
Some commercial drivers in the area justify why they arbitrarily jack up transportation fares, insisting they always incur additional expenses for the maintenance of their vehicles due to the nature of the road.
Next year, no one should attempt bringing ballot boxes here. The roads in this area are in a deplorable state, particularly the ones in Atlas.
Academy Junction.
From Academy Junction to Odifo Aquas Church, the roads are extremely poor. When it rains, some drivers end up in the gutters because of the rising waters.
Because in Soto,
even last week I faced my car because of this road. It's very bad. And if you go to town and you are coming late and it's raining, you have to park your car somewhere. You cannot drive through this. Either the rain will sweep you off or you drive straight into a ditch. The truth is, Palace Town itself has been neglected by previous and the current government.
Every 3 months we go shop. Every 3 months we go shop. Every 3 months we go shop. That's how sweep us. It go up. Say do the road for me. It's good. It's good.
Residents say they are desperate for good roads and hope the government will listen to their plea soon.
Because of commercial
vehicle owners keep increasing transport fares. Also, residents continuously dump refuse, worsening the situation. When the rains come down, some vehicles do not even ply the road, and even the residents keep relocating. Vehicles find it difficult to move when it rains. That is why my husband parks his car outside. The non-availability of gutters also compounds the situation. This has adversely affected my business as customers do not frequently come here.
Abigail Diodu's report for Joy News.
Let's now shift our attention to electoral matters, where EC refuses to extend registration centers. And in a statement issued a while ago, the Commission said it will not extend the voter registration exercise. Now, the statement reads, the Electoral Commission wishes to inform the general public that the 2023 voters registration exercise ends at 5 p.m. today, Monday, the 2nd of October 2023. The public is informed that the Commission will not extend the voters registration exercise. The Commission, however, assures the general public that arrangements have been made to ensure that eligible citizens who are in the queue or before 5 p.m. today are registered tomorrow, Tuesday, the 3rd of October 2023. It goes on to say this arrangement will be extended only to eligible applicants in the queue at 5 p.m. today, Monday, the 2nd of October 2023. The Commission wishes to thank the general public for the cooperation and support during the 21-day voters registration exercise. Now, let's take you to Wale Wale, where in that constituency, the Municipal Director of the Electoral Commission, Adams Abdul Rauf, described the registration figures there as impressive. Meanwhile, the NDC in the constituency has accused the NPP of busing minors and Fulani immigrants to the registration center. Elias Utanko reports.
The nationwide limited voter registration exercise by the Electoral Commission comes to an end. Here in the Wale Wale constituency, there are still long queues of potential applicants at the registration center waiting to take their turns. Adams Abdul Rauf is the Municipal Director of the Electoral Commission.
So far, we have registered over 5,100.
How different is the situation here, and what are some of the challenges that you see first?
Well, initially, we had those challenges. In the beginning, I think the first to the second day, we had those challenges. But ever since, those network challenges have been resolved.
The exercise, according to EC chairperson for Techima, William Bafo Apori Bampo, has been largely peaceful with a total of 95 double registration attempts within the first 20 days of the exercise.
It has been very smooth. We've had a wonderful 20 days of exercise, and today being the last day, you can see for yourself the number of people here. So far, we've been able to do about 5,780 registrations. So that is to say that we have been able to, up our game, pushed harder to ensure that whoever comes to get registered gets registered. Honestly, these political parties have been very cooperative. They understood the rule of the game, and we all played together by it. Regardless of the circumstances, we get to review the rules here and there, but at the end of the day, we always get to a consensus. So they have been very wonderful.
Now to some politics, where some identifiable groups of the New Patriotic Party at the KJT and Racecourse Market in Kumasi want party delegates to put competence above tribalism in the selection of flag bearer. This comes on the back of tribal comments allegedly made by some of the candidates in the presidential race ahead of the upcoming Delegate Congress. Nana Ojima was at a press conference where the groups declared support for Dr. Bawumia and filed this report.
Many gather in front of one entrance of the KJT market in show of support for the vice president's candidature. Amidst drumming and dancing, they engage traders on reasons all should join Dr. Bawumia's bid for flag bearership. Some of the traders expressed concerns over tribal comments being made by some aspirants in their campaigns.
We have noticed that Kennedy Japan is making tribal statements. He says the NDC is bringing John Mahama from the north, so the accounts should also bring their own. But the MPP party is not for accounts. MPP party
We want a government who will unite all religions and tribes. Dr. Bawumia is already doing so. We don't want a government that will insult Ghanaians. We are pleading with delegates to vote Dr. Bawumia.
November 4th,
If a Northerner is fit for the position, why should we Ashantis deny him the opportunity? We can't vote an Akan who isn't fit for the position.
I am pleading with delegates to vote Dr. Bawumia. The campaign should be peaceful so we can unite after the election.
The Ashanti region remains the stronghold of the NPP. In the Superdelegates Congress, Dr. Bawumia made 97 of the 119 ballots cast in Ashanti region. To the traders, the votes are a reflection of the region's choice of flag bearer. For Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
You're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Kaloni. We'll take a breather. We'll return with Showbiz. Stay with us. Welcome back, Showbiz. Guess who is in studio? Nwene. Yeah, you're welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Fake fans.
No, it's not. It's not. You know it's
I should argue with you on live TV, you know.
No, you don't have to do that. No, you don't have to do that. Anyway, what do we have?
So let's begin with Rocky Dawuni, our very own Rocky Dawuni. You know, at the United Nations General Assembly, where obviously it was a meeting or a gathering of world leaders, and they took turns to share how they have individually contributed to achieving the SDG goals. And it was the turn of the Prime Minister of Barbados, Madam Mia Mottley. And guess what? She centered her speech taking a quote out of Rocky Dawuni's music. Take a listen.
Wow.
On Monday night, as we met to determine the halfway point of the SDG goals, how many roads we have to walk just to make it to the door, only to be told that the door is closed. Those are not my words. Those are the words of Rocky Dawuni, a famous reggae artist from Ghana, nominated by M4 for awards multiple times. But his words ring because in a very real sense, are we going to trod the roads only to be told that it's too late? Too late for us to save as many as we can from the climate crisis. Too late for us to save as many as we can from the conflicts of war. Too late for us to be able to provide the food that so many need, as we reflect on the fact that more people are likely to be hungry in this world in 2030 than in 2015, or as we get to the basic numbers that 735 million people suffered chronic hunger last year at a time when so many others had so much to throw away and to use.
Very powerful speech by Mia Mokli. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't end there because we have a reaction from Rocky Dawuni. My colleague Doreen Aviu sat with him and he says her speech is testament to the fact that musicians have impact.
For me, for a prime minister to go to the floor of the United Nations to speak at a pivotal moment in human history about the SDGs and how far they've come and how far they've fallen and what the way forward is. And her taking inspiration from my words to be the foundation of what she was communicating, I felt it was an honor, at the same time humbling for me. At the same time too, I feel that it's also a justification of how artists and culture, musicians, we have the opportunity and the ability to also tap into certain sentiments that sometimes it's not apparent to us, but it has resonance.
Indeed, it has resonance, and we're so proud of
I agree with
him. Yeah. You know, sometimes when you do music and you do music that really speaks to somebody, you know, some people may fault you for not following the crowd and doing something that would be trendy. But in the long run, you'd realize that music with impact or like with good lyrics, you know, really resonates with a lot of people. But anyway, let me bring you a wrap of how things went down in Ho when the Joy Prime team took the grand finale of the Big Chef culinary show to Ho. And guess what? The Ho folks showed that indeed we can host and win. Here's a wrap.
After 12 weeks of battling for the bragging rights of the best in the kitchen, Ho Technical University, which has been adjudged 4 times as the Star School of the Week, have emerged the overall winners of the first season of the Big Chef Tertiary, running away with a 20,000 Ghana cedi, 10,000 liter Syntex tank, together with other amazing prizes from sponsors of the show.
So the moment is here, and the ultimate winner for the first edition of Big Chef Tertiary is
The show had 18 contestants representing 6 technical universities: Accra Technical University, Ho Technical University, Koforidua Technical University, Cape Coast Technical University, Kumasi Technical University, and Takrady Technical University. 3 out of these 6 technical universities made it to the finals: Kumasi Technical University, Takrady Technical University, and Ho Technical University. The show, which was sponsored by Frito, Fortune Rice, Indomie, Syntex Tank, and Access Bank, now have their overall winner, Ho Technical University.
So congratulations to folks of
Ho Technical University. Now, great one. Thank you, Nonwe.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that's all we have in this package. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more. My name is Carlos Scaloni.